Hi, welcome to this week's episode. And this week, it's a theory episode. So strap in. I want to share something with you. I noticed a couple of weeks ago, and I've been sort of trying to formulate nomenclature, trying to work out and standardize what I experienced, looking at some pictures. And this is tricky because I'm not an art teacher, so this um, this video is a examination of something that I've found that I think is interesting. It's also a call to arms to any art educators to correct me if I'm wrong and point me in further directions of study for this. So, in looking at some pictures recently, I sort of came to this conclusion that we can think of art in two ways. We can think of it as illustrative, or we can think of it as narrative. What does that mean? Well, illustrative art, it's all about feelings. It's getting you to feel what it's portraying. It's not necessarily concerned with realism. It's very concerned with a message. It's not sometimes it's overt. Oftentimes, you, the viewer, defer the meaning based on the composition, and a lot of times it's just something that looks cool. So narrative art, in contrast, is totally concerned with story. You should be able to, based on the image, work out events that happened before and events that will happen in the future. It's got a window of narrative, which is the term I've come up with. So what does that mean? What is a window of narrative? So if we think of the image uh, as a moment trapped in time, the window of narrative allows us to defer how far in the past something happens and how far in the future we can determine events that will unfold based on what's happening at now. Um, so, for example, a snapshot of the party, it's got a very narrow window of narrative. You know that this person's got a drink in his hand, is sort of smiling to the camera, and you could probably deduce that for the previous hour they were drinking or laughing or eating pizza or something like this. In the future, it might be the same thing will happen. But you don't know what he had for breakfast. You don't know what time they got up. You don't know if they get gate crashed by people who come up and turn the electricity off next door. You don't know any of these things. It's just conjecture. The image doesn't give you those clues. So let's look at this painting. This is a painting. Can you want to guess what this painting is called? I'm going to give you three options: Tango at the Beach, Alone at Last, or The Singing Butler. You can pause it, have a think about it, and when you're ready, just click play. It's called The Singing Butler because of course it is. It sold for a staggering amount of money in 2004. It's the most expensive painting by a Scottish artist sold in Scotland, and it's the best-selling print in the UK. But it's an illustration. It is illustrative. It has a very narrow window of narrative. And let me show you. It's a snapshot. It's frozen in time. We can work out what happens before. Someone winds the gramophone up and they get into hold and they dance a bit. And we can work out what happens after. They dance a bit more. Maybe the record finishes and they go out of hold. But we've got no idea what it was like getting to the beach. We've got no idea if it's going to rain again. Okay, the maid's got an umbrella, but doesn't really mean anything. The butler doesn't sing. We don't see anyone's faces. This is a purely illustrative thing. It's made to sell a feeling, made to sell a vibe. Jack Veterinari. Did I say that right? I'll just a second while I double check myself. So the artist Jack Vetriano, for this illustration, for this picture, this painting, there were pictures. It was essentially what you're just looking at is a collage. There used to be Illustrator's reference manuals, and there would be various pictures and photographs, and you could use them as reference. And exactly what he did. Essentially, he took one image of some dancers, one of someone holding an umbrella, someone else holding an umbrella, put it on a landscape, and there's your painting. Okay. Now this is the image that really got me thinking about narrative in art. This is Shine Up by Norman Rockwell. Now just take a second to look at this. I think this image has a really wide narrative window. So let's So let's look at what we've got here. We've got a girl sat outside the principal's office. She's been in a fight. She's got a black eye. Her shirt is torn. Her pigtails are coming out. The ribbons come off. She's got a bandage on her knees. Take a look at her. Take a look at her face. Look at that smile. She's the victor. She won this fight, and now she's being now she's up for the principal, and will no doubt get some kind of punishment. But look at her face. Everything about this, you can determine what happened before. Months and months and months of the three hardest boys in the class putting frogs down her shirt and pulling her hair, calling her names and pushing her at hopscotch. And then one day she cracked and she beat 3 boys up. Absolutely, bloodied their noses, and she's got one black eye, they've got a pair each, And now she's in front of the principal's office, and she doesn't care what the punishment's going to be, because the bullies that have been making her life a misery, they will never lift a finger against her again, and she will be almost a heroic figure amongst everyone else in her year group. I'll go, there goes Jean. She totally beat up those 3 lads. And for me, this image has a really wide window of narrative. And so this is the image that sparked all this. And so I'm sharing it with you today. And so the appeal goes out to our educators. Am I onto something here? Is this something we can be thinking about when we put together panels for comics? Can we take a cue from the art world, for example? Is there such a thing as a window narrative, or I've just made up some BS term? Get back to me, comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have an opinion, if you think I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong, and tell me why you think I'm wrong. Tell me, is this useful? Yeah. So that's it for this episode. It's a short and sweet one, really, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, take care, everyone. All right, bye now.